Hello, can you hear me? Hi, my name is Daryl Swensen. I am the Transition Operations Coordinator for the RCRV project at getting managed by Oregon State University. So get to our first slide here on this. The RCRV project, which I'm sure most of you know, is the building of 3 new research vessels, regional class research vessels. That's been going on a long time. But we're getting there little by little. So the transition operations is the period after delivery. So what our part is, we have a team in Houma that Kristen Beam is part of, that is managing the build at the shipyard. And my job is to, once the vessels get delivered, is to manage the outfitting and the integration of everything in the system, baselining to get into scientific operations. So I just want to start off with a little bit of who we got working for us now. We've had a few changes in the program. One big one is, of course, Katie left our group, which we were super sad about. But we are filling some of that scope with James Kaysen. Actually, can I get the people working with the RCRV program just to stand up so you can see who they are? So we got Kristen Beam, Chris Romsos, and James Kaysen right now. And can I get our operating institutions individuals? Anybody that's with one of our operating institutions, either for LumCon, USM, OSU, and URI? Okay, there you go. All right, can I get anybody that's helping us with science and operations trials? Anybody that we've reached out that is working with our group for science and operations trials? Good, yep, hands. So, and then do we have any other people in here, any vendors that are working with RCRV that are in this? Yep.
Half this room.
Yep. So we that was more than half of this room. So that's what we were hoping to get. Do we have anybody that's helping fund RCRV? I want to bring that in the case. So, but.
Are you doing the traditional nonprofit thing of naming spaces after donors?
Yeah, it'd be nice, right? There's not much space in this boat to put anything and leave it a name. So, but a few other changes, like I say, was Mark Willis retired, and we have Kristen Beam at the shipyard managing all the science there. And then, but for the most part, a lot of the other personnel within the program has stayed the same. Damian Bailey and Claire Reimers are still our project leadership for the PM and project scientist. Oh, okay. All right, just a quick slide on that. We've pretty much solidified where and how all the scientific instrumentation is going to be going on the vessel. We have a sensor wall going up into the bow thruster room for all the underway sensors. Are the meteorological systems. We've been working a lot with most of like the SAMOS, R2R, and a lot of scientific experts to really find out the best places to put all these sensors on here. And so right now we're getting kits of items which we will have for outfitting, and everything will be shipped down to Houma when the vessel is delivered, and we'll be putting all of the scientific instruments up when it finally gets accepted and delivered to us. Right now we have all of that instrumentation in Corvallis. We've got it all bench tested, integrated together, put it into Coriolix, have it all running. It's the whole ship is running right now, not only cyber infrastructure, but all the sensor system not totally as it would. There's a few little things here and there that are not up, but for the most part, everything is a full running ship sitting in Corvallis right now that we're doing testing on. So I'm just going to go through. It's still we just transported the superstructure over to the Houma facility, and it's still going through a modular build process. So they're building each one of these different modules and then starting to weld them together. And various periods in the time. That's when the transducer flaps going in, engines going in. So this process is still happening with the first 2 decks being steel. And then the superstructure is aluminum. And I'm kind of bummed. I think Brian showed a picture of it all put together, and we grabbed a presentation that was a couple days old, and I had a whole bunch of new pictures of with the superstructure onto the aluminum onto the steel structure on the super mod. But we have something that actually looks like a ship now, but I don't have any pictures of it in my presentation.
Post them in Hoover.
I will do that. So there's the Tawny. Right now, the shipyard as you know, went through a hurricane and also got sold to a different outfit, which I presented on last year. It's been a labor issues of been a problem as it was everybody's supply chain issues, everybody's issues, but it's a real issue down in the Gulf, and they have been very creative. We're starting to get a very solid workforce down there, and things are turning too on the Tawny. So right now, the superstructure is actually on the super mod. So we have one full ship, and they're mostly getting the painting done in the all the systems are kind of in, and the modules been put together, and they're really concentrating doing the painting now. And then real soon they're going to start the cable pulling, which is going to be a epic process for this vessel. But that's where the area in the Tawny is right now. The Narragansett Dawn is behind the Tawny, and probably a little farther behind than is on the schedule. But they are actually putting a lot of workforce on the Narragansett Dawn now. And so we got a lot of the modules built. We don't have a full super mod, but we got, I believe, the first 4 of the bottom modules are put together. And then now that we have the superstructure for the Tawny over in Homa, the superstructure for the Narragansett Dawn is getting built in Amelia, which is about an hour away from Homa yard. And so that allows them 2 separate workforces, because there's really these vessels are tight vessels, and there's not a lot of room on there for getting a lot of workers in, and so it's actually nice to have another facility to be working on the superstructure with a different workforce than is actually in the Homa yard. So things are kind of cooking now on the Narragansett Dawn. But that kind of leaves the Gilbert R. Mason to. That's about it. There's, I think the last report there was 2 people working on the Gilbert R. Mason right now. So it. I think they're putting a lot of workforce and concentrating on getting the Tawny done, the first vessel all put together. And I think once that is at an area where they're really starting to get some of the single source vendors, the SSVs, and they're pulling in their stuff, that workforce will move over to these other vessels. And I think they'll go really quickly once that happens. So we're confident they're going to catch up, and we're confident that they're going to make their current delivery schedules. Pretty confident, I think. With that, this is it's actually not a draft now. This is the delivery schedule that's in the contract, but that's only within the last couple of days. So right now the Tawny is set for 9/15/23. You know, we're probably not going to make that exact date, but I think it's going to be within months of that area. The delivery for the Narragansett Dawn will be 3/22/24. And the Gilbert R. Mason will be 8/16/24. So there'll be a 6-month gap between Tawny and Narragansett Dawn, and a 5-month gap between Narragansett Dawn and the Mason. Yeah, the shipyard is confident that they will be able to still hit those separations, and you know, we're optimistic. Things are, you know, it's been a bumpy road the last couple of years, obviously, for us, and we're feeling very confident that the shipyard knows they're squared away to build these vessels, and I think we'll see them hopefully before I have to retire. I want to go through, so once these are delivered, this will be when we start our transition operations, and that's it's an 18-month period of time, which really starts 6 months before delivery of the vessels. So we'll be funding the entire operations of each one of our operating institutions. And that'll start with, you know, hiring. Crews will be in the shipyard doing shipyard support during that period of time, and then training and familiarization. And then at delivery, that is our workforce to outfit the vessels. So we'll be putting all the scientific instrumentation on, all the habitability stuff in there. And I don't know, what we got, almost 10,000 items on our inventory right now. I mean, we are buying an insane amount of stuff, which, as you can imagine, it's been interesting. So at delivery right now, we've slotted about 40 working days for outfitting and start off for crew familiarization with the vessels. And then we do a transit to home port. And the first part of out of Homa is going to be our first operations and science trials cruise, which we plan on starting with the multi-beam system, doing acoustic work, and also doing our deep water winch work. We'll be the first out of Homa, and then the long transit back to each home port. There'll be a period of time at each home port for home port outfitting, which will finish and clean up everything else, and then about 5 more operation and science trials cruises before we go to warranty haul out and then into the UNOLS fleet. So, you know, when really the amount of time do we have to, when you take in the outfitting of the vessels in Homa, the transits and the outfitting and home ports, we don't have a ton of time for our science and operations trials, but I think it's enough. It's a year from after delivery, but it includes a lot. And that's some of the lesson learned from some of the newer boats that we've had come out in the last few years, is that the amount of time getting that year is critical to getting that vessel. So your funded science is not having to troubleshoot your boat. When the boat gets out to working, it's ready to go and it's baselined and everybody knows what they're expecting, instead of using funded science to figure out how the boat works. Oh, okay, gotta roll. All right, one of those real quick I was going to say is how we're organizing these crews. We've developed an operations science trials matrix in which we were trying to get every not only science system but also operations system on the vessel, get parameters that we want to test with them, starting with what procedure you want to do, what if it's an individual test or a system test, what we need for the vessel to do that test in there. Durations, what kind of sea states, everything we got in there. From there, we're going to try to combine like systems in order to set up cruises for our operations science verification cruises. And that includes expert support from this community. So I think I've talked a good amount of, especially the MAC and R2R and the SAMOS and all these people that were going to help us for our scientific expertise to help us support and really figure out how these boats work. And that's about it. So, I would like to leave some areas for questions if anybody has any questions about it. Or not. Good. Andrew. Lay it on me, buddy.
Have you guys had issues with the Buy America?
No, because part of the Buy America Act was there's a cutoff of where your funding is. So it's been for the vessel in the shipyard, no. For our group, we've had different increments of funding. And the timing of when we've gotten an increment, but most of our funding came in, so we're grandfathered in and not have to do. We're domestic preference we have to deal with. We've had that, but Buy America for the most part, there's going to be a few items depending on which chunk of money we're using to buy things. But so far, it's not going to apply to anything that we have to buy for outfitting, which is good. Yeah. We have to do NDAA and domestic preference. Yeah. So.
Let's get Chris to come up next.
Yep. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Lay it on me.
So if you guys are curious, we have, a whole bunch of webcams. If you just look up Oregon State University webcam, RCRV, we have, I think, a total of 6 of them now.
Yep.
Maybe a couple more. So feel free to look at that. And then we also have a Facebook and an Instagram page.
Yeah, I didn't put those links, and these are actually links on there too. So, yep. What do you got? Is that it? All right.
Quick question. How is the aluminum superstructure attached to the steel?
There's a thing called the data couple. So, and I'm sure Chad would know much more about this than I would, but basically data couple is it's a material that they've already pre-fused with aluminum one side and steel. And so you buy it in strips or in chunks, and then they apply that. They've already welded the aluminum part onto the aluminum structure. And then once you set it on, you just do the weld onto the steel structure. But I don't know. I don't know what the process is of fusing the aluminum. Katie or Kristen, you might know more. I know Chad.
Well, yeah, there's actually some really cool YouTube videos out there. If you look up data couple, it's DETA.
Yeah.
Couple, and they're actually explosion welded together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Repeat that here for
So
the
that's not done in
online.
the shipyard.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
already happened.
Say that again.
I said that's not done in the shipyard. That's already pre-fabricated.
Yeah. It's pre-done. They buy the
Tell
material.
these guys what to Google. In
Oh,
order, the people on YouTube didn't hear that.
okay. Say it again.
Data couple.
Data couple. So Google data couple or YouTube data couple, and there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how it works.
I think it's DETA.
Yeah,
not-
DETA.
Not data,
Data, but it says it's data.
data.
We'll edit that out.
I
Yeah.
Where do you guys stand on the ETO position?
Where do we stand on it? I think it's critical for the success of the operation of these vessels, in my opinion. So we have put we haven't added it to our COI as because it isn't a Coast Guard billet. So, but we just put an electrician in for the COI of that. But I think the skill set needed onto the operations side of the ship's vessel is going to be critical for success of these. The mixer has a PLC. I mean, it's nutty how much technology is involved with modern vessels, and that you really need that expertise. So yeah, we've suggested to all of our operating institutions, and they've all are starting looking to try to fill that thing. But it's not an easy position to fill, and it will be one of the most expensive paid positions on the vessel too. It's just something you're gonna have to budget for. All right, I'm out.
Trying to shove Chris to shove his boss aside. Or just
Trying to keep us on schedule.
All right, well, I don't think this is going to go over. Chris Romsos, I've been here a couple times previously to talk about Coriolix, and so I wanted to give you just kind of an update of what we've been working on in the last year. Well, that's what I intended to do. I couldn't help myself. We're going to do a little review. So again, following up on Daryl, so we zoomed into the org chart here. And I just wanted to highlight a couple people that were very close to the Coriolix project. Obviously, well, there's still 3 of us. Katie we're really excited about Katie's new opportunity. And like Mark Willis said, good luck and do great things. We miss you. But she was very, very instrumental in, there's been a lot of collaborations. Daryl had people stand up, and I think the Coriolix project has been quite collaborative, and Katie's been very instrumental in like making those collaborations happen. She's not afraid to call people up and just get stuff started. So I think that's going to keep going. Jasmine Horniak is really kind of the heart and soul of Coriolix. She does all the development, data modeling, keeping an eye on the test systems that we have out there and stuff like that. So and then, I take my direction from Jazz, and James is joining the project and really has jumped right in, and, from day one been a tester and telling us, hey, I'll, change this isn't working. So got a good future ahead of us. So I just wanted to throw out a little bit of kind of what we wanted to do when we thought of Coriolix, and really the job was to unlock the underway observations. That's pretty self-explanatory. Get the underway data off the vessel as soon as we can. And we hope that would really enable remote participation. So different communities interacting with the data in real time from your underway systems, and driving the time to science down is the goal. And so that we can get information get data off the boat, turn it into information that we can use to maybe change what we're doing at sea. And then I think the other goal was to do this in such a way that we could support a standardization across all 3 and really treat this as a class of CI, and to promote interoperability. And there was kind of a whole plan to do that with the slide before said we were RDESC, RCRV, data presence and engineering support. We're still RDESC, this team support all this through through transition to operations. What happens in operations is kind of still TBD. And then, just to throw out some like the stretch goals, we hoped that it would help normalize getting data off the boat. We're not the first, and we won't be the last. Samos has been sending data off the ship for a long time. But we just we hope to kind of normalize it and make it kind of an expectation. And also, and do it to support, part of the idea with RDESC was to have staff looking at the data as it's coming in, looking for problems. And it's the same way that Jules and Toby operate the UHDAS, and really interacting with the seagoing technicians to kind of provide cover, technical cover, I guess. And we've heard a lot about ocean best practices, but promoting that, and something that Katie really took under her wing was delivering the vessel with SOPs for all the instrumentation. This is how we hope to operate it, and providing that guidance. So, okay, Coriolix, what is it? I don't think I've done this very well in previous presentations, so it's another chance. you probably have already guessed that, we've acknowledged getting the data off the ship to the shore. So it's distributed. It's a distributed software system with components on the ship and on the shore. I think the fundamental piece, collection of information is a metadata database in Coriolix, and it inherits information about the crews from the UNOLS. Our first demonstration was from UNOLS Cruise Planner, but we're working to inherit cruise planning information from MFP. That's in process, but Baco and the team have provided API access to Jasmine, and she's working on extracting the cruise metadata information so we can pre-populate before a cruise. All the information about the vessel, how it's set up, its specifications is in this metadata database. In a history or an instrument database that starts with the purchase of an instrument, and we start collecting entering it into Coriolix and collecting metadata about its life and maintaining that. So in doing that, we populate all of the instruments, no matter which boat it is, on the system, so that we can more easily share them. And then you can have, if we loan an instrument to the other boat, all the history about that instrument, how it's configured, what's been done to it, and stuff is already there. And then we manage a bunch of event metadata, like instrument sensor logs, maintenance logs. There's another event log similar to the R2R event log, and we're working on standardizing the elements of metadata that we collect, so there's interoperability there. But this information is synchronized immediately. It doesn't change very often, but it does. It's synchronized immediately to shore. So that's the kind of, and the key being that you can work on, if you're doing your dockside work, can take delivery of a new instrument, came back from Cal, you can enter all that data into Coriolix and it synchronizes to the boat. The other component, scalable vector graphics are not scaling. The time series data, obviously, the instrument data. I changed this graphic to have both like a flat file look and a database look, because there's been a little bit of confusion. We do save all the data, the raw data in flat files, but we also parse it and add value to it in the database and synchronize that to shore. So I'm going to go a little bit faster. There are a number of processes that that operate on the time series data in the background to make all that happen. And some of the important ones are, we're doing transformations on the data. So taking it from engineering units to SI units, flagging the data, binning the data, things like that. Okay, and then what you see is the web service front end. So I'll give you a quick look at, this is kind of the home page, what it would look like on an iPhone. And you can dig down into it and find status, like a readout of what all your instruments are doing. If you have problems, some of those boxes will turn red. But GIS of sorts, a map application, so you can be aware of what's around you and what you've been doing. And then plotting tools for science and for technicians. And there's a lot more under the hood, but I am less than 5 minutes to go. So all the same stuff kind of in text form. I grouped it up. We've already talked about it, maintaining a catalog of all of our instrumentation, inheriting stuff from processes that are happening upstream, synchronizing that to the beach. One of the key things that Coriolix does is it orchestrates your data acquisition. So we're using Open RVTEC for data acquisition, and all the information needed to configure our Open RVTEC comes out of that metadata database in Coriolix. And we do things like, I guess it's the third rail of tech services, but we do process the data or give you the ability to do that. Like I said before, create derivative products and support a bunch of these type of management capabilities. So that same thing in a graphic, I think is maybe a little bit better for people. You'll notice that in this graphic, Jules, can you give me a time check?
Well, you're supposed to be done in 3 minutes.
Okay, I will go.
But just you can.
In this graphic, what I wanted you to know, just think, it's from, there's a notion of time. So on the x-axis, from, making an observation to getting it to R with reading from left to right. And then, so we've we've thought a lot about the different phases of data acquisition, or like the life cycle of data. We actually talk a little bit about this with the CI Compass program is very interested in cataloging how different facilities are, what the data life cycle looks like. So developed this product a little bit for them. But you can see that what I wanted to show you was, I don't have a pointer. Thanks. Did I just show up here? This is the raw data. It goes right to a file immediately in OpenRVTEC, right off the wire. Then we start chopping it up in OpenRVTEC, parsing it, picking out the parameters that we want, doing real-time flags, near real-time calibration. There's probably another arrow that's missing here, but we're reading calibration information from the database and making the cals. Jasmine has done a lot of work. If you're an OpenRVTEC user, we have instrument-specific calibration code that we can share. Store that data in a database, do some neighbor type analysis for additional flagging, and then binning at 2 different intervals, like a user-defined interval and a 1-minute interval, so that the scientists that need kind of co-located data and have trouble with combining and interpolating times and stuff can use those products. And then we have a number of processes packaging it up. And this is something I've been working on a lot lately, is how am I pulling everything together into a distro for R2R. So that's a work in progress. And then you can kind of see a little bit of the different role. OpenRVTEC has a very large job, and just kind of showing that we're informing it with the information stored in Coriolix. We've been doing a lot of collaborations. We've had 3 workshops with R2R once a year, and just talking about implementing the right vocabularies throughout Coriolix. A lot of work on that, to tell you the truth, and working with Sean to make sure we're doing true wins properly and getting all the, there's a lot of collaborations that sort of touch Coriolix, but so I just wanted you to know, we're out there. We've had a fellow from CI Compass that's helped us develop a new API that will be easier for scientific users, or more intuitive. We still have a backend API for developers. And then we've supported 2 graduate students that have really focused on kind of data accessibility, FAIR data, I think is what they call it. And they've supplied a number of recommendations on how we can improve our web front end to support outreach and engagement better than we're currently doing. So that's a future area of work. We've been on four vessels. We're no longer on Endeavor, on Oceanus, but we were on Oceanus first, and I really want to thank Andrew and his team. They were very hands-on, helping us from the very beginning. Same with Endeavor. I would say we're probably having the most success from Point Sur and Sekuliak, and I please talk to them and ask them about that. I don't have enough time to go into what they're actually working on, but if I could do something better, it's working with Endeavor, and we've been having a lot of conversations about that this week. The road ahead, we're hosting basically the biggest thing in my life right now is preparing for all the operators to come to Corvallis and learn how to use this next month in like less than 30 days. So that's really all I can think about right now. And, but yeah, we have a lot to prove and characterize in trials. That's probably all the time I have. And again, to emphasize the collaboration, put together, there's probably a couple names missing. I tried to update this last night, but thank you all for, being willing to talk to us, allowing us to come onto your ship and try stuff and break things. And, it's really been a big help.
Leah Miss Raven online is asking, what library definition are you using for L1, L2, and L3?
What library definition are we using? I want to say that I want to say it's a modified Coriolix specific definition. I think it most closely resembles something that NASA developed. And I think we had a little bit of trouble with our definition of raw and parsed at the beginning, so we might violate that.
I'm sorry.
For
Well,
what?
because this is just such a fabulous project and it's so big.
Yeah,
And,
it's,
I hate to stick to schedule, but
no, we're doing it.
it.
I'll keep taking it up with Daryl.
There you go.
There's also the community forums, so you can continue to talk to Chris.
So the next presentation is on the MATE program. Maria Osiadacz is going to do that remotely. Oh, we see you. Isn't that excellent?
Can you hear me also?
Yes, here.
You will.
Hold it.
Success.
Yeah, you're not yet. Randy has.
I'm on,
Randy has to finish connecting the dots.
no worries. I'm on video in MOVA and audio in Zoom. Love technology.
Okay. Okay, great. All right.
All right.
Hang on, oh wait, I need to put your picture over there. One more. There we go. All right, go for it.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. Good morning. It's so wonderful to be a part of this event once again. I've been looking forward to it. My name is Maria Osiadacz, and I'm the internship coordinator for the UNOLS Made at Sea Technical Internship Program. And I'm also a member of the RVTEC DEI Working Group. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to share some important updates with you about our program. Next slide, please. Are you able to thank you, Brandy. To offer a little bit of background for any of you who might not be familiar with our program, the MATE internship program started in 1999 with a grant from NSF and a partnership with UNOLS. And this program was created to help meet the demand for skilled marine technicians while giving women and underrepresented minorities more opportunities to learn from experienced marine technicians, scientists, and other crew working on research vessels and, provide STEM opportunities. The internship program has been run by the Marine Advanced Technology Education Center, or MATE Center, at the Monterey Peninsula College for 24 years. But I'm happy to announce that pending funding approval, the program will be transferring in 2023 to the University of Washington and run by the UNOLS office. So I'm really looking forward very much to continue working as the program manager with the UNOLS staff and with the support of the University of Washington support staff and services. And really looking forward to growing the program. And at this time, I also want to take the time to congratulate Deidre Sullivan, who has retired from her position as a director at the MATE Center. She is still very active in her community, still around offering her extremely valuable advice. But I want to also acknowledge her hard work and dedication and unending support over the years. She's been my mentor and friend for many years, and I am eternally grateful for her belief in me. Next slide, please. So over the years, the program has made an effort to collect demographic data for MATE interns, and I have been working on compiling all the data available that I could find for 328 former interns who completed internships between 1999 and 2022. The number on this table is the numbers shown are based on survey responses. And I do want to point out that some data is limited because some participants declined to respond to optional survey questions. And also financial status data about participants only started being collected in 2008. But one of the important demographics that our program tries to help are community college students. And out of the 328 former interns, 171 were community college students. That's about 52%. We also want to help female students gain opportunities on board research vessels. And out of the 328 former interns, 48.5% have been females. And of course, we want to give lots of opportunities to underrepresented groups. Here, underrepresented group represents ethnicity background. And some of the interns who participated did not respond to these questions because they are optional. But out of the 301 responses that we did receive, 80 fell under underrepresented groups, and that's about 26.6%. And then financially disadvantaged students, we collected that information again since 2008. And out of 171 former interns, 69.6% were considered financially disadvantaged students, which is also an important group that we want to help with this program. And so our program, aims and will continue to aim to increase opportunities for community college students, females, and underrepresented groups from a diverse backgrounds. And although we met our program goals with these percentages, we are committed to improving these numbers even more moving forward. Next slide, please. I have also been working on updating information about the employment status of former interns. And I have been reaching out to interns through emails, gathering information from surveys, LinkedIn, and other forms of networking. And I have been asking our former interns what is their current position and what organization they're currently working for. And I have made an effort to reach out to as many former interns as possible. However, I may not have the most updated contact information for everyone. So if you were a MATE intern before 2019 and haven't heard from me recently, please let me know so that I can include your information and update these numbers. But we asked how many people were in marine technician or closely related jobs. This would include working on a marine vessel or institution supporting oceanographic research. And out of 87 who replied, about 55% said they were working in those types of jobs. We also asked people if they were working with the UNOLS fleet, on research vessels, part of the UNOLS fleet. And out of 87, 31 responded yes, and that's about 35.6%. Keeping in mind that this includes people who may also be working as part of the tech pool or doing other temporary work or a visiting student on one of those vessels. Or maybe as a prior job if I wasn't able to get the most updated information. So I want to, share that as well. But overall, we want to increase opportunities for people working in STEM-related positions. And out of the 87, 85 responded they are working in a STEM-related position. And that's about 97.7% of the respondents. And these numbers actually are very similar results as the results to a 2017 survey that we did by reaching out to former interns, and we got 91 respondents. And during that survey, over 90% were employed in a STEM-related field, and over 50% held positions in marine technology or closely related ship-based jobs. Next slide, please. So now I want to congratulate and share with you our 2022 interns this year. I also want to encourage you to read their blogs. The website link for for the blog is on it's on the very last slide of this slideshow. So I think that you'll find the blogs really interesting if you haven't had a chance to look at them. And our first intern was Miguel Sanchez. He worked with Ethan Roth on the Coriolix, and he is now continuing his studies in naval architecture and marine engineering at the Webb Institute. Next slide, please. The next one is Tyler Peterson, which I know you're familiar with, and he worked with marine technicians Emily Chung and Croy Carlin on the Armstrong. And after he completed his internship, he went on to work with the UNOLS Tech Pool. He helped out on the Healy, and he has since been hired as a marine technician with Oregon State University. I want to congratulate him. Next slide, please. So Jackson Holliker was our next intern. He worked with Christian and Kernison and other crew on the Hugh Sharp. And now he is continuing his studies in marine technology at Northwestern Michigan College. Next slide, please. Daniel Bernay also worked with Christian and as well as Jackson Holliker and other crew on Hugh Sharp. And he is now continuing his studies in marine biology at the University of Alaska Southeast. Next slide. So Sarah Sargent, pictured here, she worked with Matt Heinz and the Jason team on the Thompson. And she is also working now, continuing her education in marine technology at Northwestern Michigan College. And our next intern, next slide, is Sienna Graham. She worked with Sean Kelly and the Sentry team, also on the Thompson. And she is land-based in the Deep Submergence Facility Lab. And now she is continuing her studies at Virginia Polytechnic State University, working in aerospace and ocean engineering. Next slide, please. Then we have Kyle Hebert. He worked with Don and Dennis and Jonathan and other crew on the Walton Smith. And he has since been hired by Hui as a communications electronics technician working on the Atlantis. Next slide. Then Alicia Gregoire also worked with Donis and Dennis and Jonathan and other crew on the Walton Smith. And she's been hired by Marine Operations at Rasmus as a full-time ship's mate on the Walton Smith. So I want to congratulate both Kyle and Alicia. And I wanted to point out, I really like the photo here with the because it shows 4 interns. On my right is Jonathan Raymond. He is the ship's engineer for the Walton Smith. He was a mate intern in 2020. Directly next to him is Sebastian DiGeronimo. He worked on a Hugh Sharp as a mate intern in 2019 and has been visiting and helping out with the Walton Smith. And then you have Kyle and Alicia, the 2 interns for 2022, who, and it's just really wonderful to see the 4 of them enjoying their, internship experiences together. And Jonathan Raymond also has really helped out as a great mentor, and that's just, always wonderful to see. And then our next slide shows Anna Elmendorf. Anna is currently working with Emily Chung and all the other marine technicians on board the Armstrong. She was able to join the transit from Greenland to Woods Hole, and she will be working on the ship through mid-December as, completing her internship, her mate internship. Next slide, please. So moving forward, we are planning for a full year of internships in 2023, hopefully starting with placements in the spring, then summer and fall, depending on need and the ship's schedule. That's going to include 1 long-term intern for about 6 months and somewhere between 12 to 14 short-term internships, depending on the length of each, approximately 4 to 16 weeks each. The new announcement listing the requirements and the link to our application will be distributed in the next couple of weeks and available on our website. And the deadline, just so you know, is going to be about mid-January for submitting those applications, but this will also be provided on the announcements. Next slide, please. And so I want to emphasize, as always, that a very important purpose of our program is to raise awareness about and give interns an opportunity to experience the marine technical field. It is still the case today that many students are starting college who are interested in ocean-related careers and working on board seagoing vessels don't always know that being a marine technician is an option for them, and they end up being very interested once they gain an understanding of the work involved, and they're more likely to pursue a career as a marine technician after having completed the internship. And so, as many of you already know, there are many benefits to, I think, can you go one slide back? My apologies. Here we go. Thank you. So I want to just very quickly look at the benefits of connecting interns with professionals at sea. So hosts not only get an extra pair of hands on board, but also someone who is enthusiastic about learning, hopes to develop a career in the field. And hosts can also be directly involved in training the next generation of marine technicians, and have an opportunity to get to know the interns to see if they're a good fit for the team, as well as recruit new talent at the end of potentially at the end of the internship that have already received specialized training during those internships. And then on the other hand, interns receive the opportunity to gain the hands-on experience essential for employment, as well as gain a real understanding of what the work involves and exposure to oceanographic instrumentation that is not available to them in classroom settings. Okay, and now we can go to the next slide. And thank you. And so, again, you've heard me say this before probably, but I want to emphasize that this program would not be possible without the contribution of organizations willing to host interns. So, please consider hosting in 2023. We're really hoping to have a big year. And I'm in the process right now of reaching out to potential hosts. But please don't hesitate to contact me if you're interested in hosting an intern in 2023 and have questions about the process. I will be providing a host form that you can complete that asks questions about what to look for in a candidate, the minimum qualifications and special requirements that you're looking for. And then I carefully match those candidates with the host's requirements, send a short list of top candidates and their application responses to choose from. And then I assist with a complete hiring process, including scheduling interviews, checking references, making offers, and overseeing all the pre-boarding requirements, as well as any other providing assistance throughout the whole process. And the internship program pays for all the travel to and from the ship's location and any lodging needed outside the ship. Interns also receive a weekly stipend. And then the next and final slide. Thank you. So in conclusion, I want to express thanks to the technicians and crew members that work with our interns and continue to be excellent role models, really the best role models, and interns are extremely grateful for the opportunity to work with you. I also want to thank everyone at the National Science Foundation for the continued support, and the UNOLS staff for being so supportive and so hardworking and putting together this great event. And my contact information and the link to the host form, if you're interested in hosting, is right there on that slide. You can contact me, of course, anytime with questions, but I'll take questions now if there's time. Thank you.
We're doing for outreach in terms of actually distributing that list, or I guess the applications to people who might want it. I guess from my perspective, it felt like you really had to know somebody who knew about it. So are you guys doing school visits, or is that you just have to have a connection in the tech field?
Did you catch that, Maria?
Yes, I think asking about distributing the announcement to engage applicants to apply, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yes, so we have, like I said, the program has been in place for 24 years, and we have a really extensive contact list for faculty members, as well as advisors, counselors at many universities, throughout and colleges throughout the United States. We have direct partnerships with several community colleges and are in contact with faculty there. I believe there's about 59 and growing different partnerships with colleges and universities. And we send the announcement to all of those people. We constantly check in with them to get updated information about new faculty or new, positions that can encourage their students to apply. And we get a lot of applicants from those institutions. We also send the announcement through RVTEC and post it on, share it, of course, with all the potential hosts and host organizations. And we also have a contact form that interested students can fill out if they want to receive automatic announcements. And we have a really extensive contact list of people who go on our website and fill out that contact form and say, I'm really interested in this program. And then when the new announcements come up, we send them out. However, if you feel that there is another group or people or yourself or anybody you think may, for some reason, may not be getting that announcement, please don't hesitate to email me, and I'll be happy, to include you in that list so that you do get the current announcement as well as future announcements from now on. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, and you can share them yourselves. All of you have your own social media accounts and lists, like make it available. One of the great, I see Ted right there. We're running out of time, but one of the greatest successes I see of this program is we are now having mate interns training mate interns. Yes. They're coming directly into the fleet and training up the next generation. And it took some time. I know there was some hesitation. Training people is work, but I think that it's really paying off for everybody. Ted, you had a question.
Are there minimum age and educational requirements to enter into the summer program?
Are there minimum age and education requirements for the summer program?
We do want students to, they need to be at least 18 years of age and be enrolled in a college or university. So we're specifically looking for college students that are at least 18 years of age. And we do tend to place a lot of focus on community college students who are looking for STEM related opportunities, because that's an important demographic of our program that we want to try to reach out to and give those students opportunities that they don't have access to at community colleges.
Thank you, Maria. We have to go. We're short on time, but Maria has been in the community forums engaging and has put some information in there. And I think you're available to anybody almost anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Out too, because the whole mate program is just a really, really good incubator for all of us. So here we have Piers Chapman. Stand on it up. Going to tell us about the tech pool.
Yep. Okay, well, as everybody has heard previously several times, this program wouldn't be possible without Jim's help. So thanks, Jim, for continuing to fund it. Which one? That one? Yeah. Okay, some of you know all about this because we're now in our 7th year, but let's go through it quickly. NSF started this off in 2012 with 2 technicians. Then in 2015, they finally got around to issuing an RFP. We responded and were awarded the contract for 5 years. We started with the same 2 members. We had 7 by the end of the first year. And now we just had a new 5-year contract. We've got 24 members, 13 other members have come and gone during that time, but 9 of them have accepted permanent positions with UNOLS or other operators in that time. So it's not like they're being lost to the system. The goals of the program obviously are to retain the pool of experienced technicians. And this started because the size of the fleet was obviously going down. And so we wanted to make sure that we still had the necessary technical support for all the oceanographic research cruises that were needed. We heard on Tuesday afternoon about potential tech burnout. Maybe pool members can help relieve some of that. It also provides the opportunities for new and younger marine techs to sail on many ships, meet a lot of the older guys who've been there, learn from them, and otherwise they probably wouldn't meet up, except possibly at this meeting on an annual basis. And it ensures too that the experience that's been built up stays within the community, even as the more experienced members retire. And we do this by working with the UNOLS technical support manager, Brandy. We handle all the support functions for the techs, and we could be a voice for them if they told us what it was they needed us to bring to NSF and UNOLS. How it works: the techs are hired as independent contractors. They get a 12-month general service agreement, and then for each deployment, they get a separate service supplement. And we have to do it this way because while we can cover the maritime employers liability and general liability insurance, the way Texas A&M's medical insurance operates means it would be impossible for you to ever get coverage if you were in the pool. So what we do is we up the day rate a bit, and then the techs are responsible for finding their own medical coverage. And that seems to work pretty well. It's what they do for the drilling program as well, which is why we did it that way. They're paid on standard rates. There's a series of grades. Standard rates are based on 8 hours ashore or 12 hours a day at sea, and that includes mobilization, demobilization, and travel. And thanks to Jim, we managed to negotiate a 5% pay raise for all the members of the pool starting this last January. We also make people or give people the chance to attend training workshops if they complete 100 days at sea a year. And maybe the one downside, if you're in the pool, is that the work is not guaranteed, but you can opt in or out of assignments and the pool. And in fact, we've had somebody left the pool and then came back in again. So it does work, apparently. I don't know if you can read that. Currently, as I say, we've got 24 members in the pool. 6 new members joined this year. If you add up the numbers in the vertical columns, they don't add up to the numbers in the bottom row. That's because the numbers in the bottom row include deployments done by people who have since left the pool. But in total, we've had 251 deployments, and the current techs have been involved in 193 of them. Now, in terms of days worked, you can see, as we all know, 2020 and 2021, the plague years, caused major reduction in the days that anybody got to sea. And while it looks as though there was only about a 50% drop in days worked in those 2 years, in fact, a lot of the time the techs had to spend sitting in hotel rooms, twiddling their thumbs, doing quarantine, which was an awful waste of time for a lot of people, and it cost a lot of money. But that was the only way we could get people out to sea. But luckily, as you can see here, 2022, we seem to be building back up again. Obviously, there was a big backlog as a result of all the cruises being cancelled. And to look at that in particular, take 2020 as an example. On the right, you have, this slide was made before the end of the year. So that's why you have the 2 sections on the right where completed cruises and cruises that had been scheduled or were underway at the time I gave the talk. On the left, which is about almost the same amount, were the cruises that got cancelled. So there was a huge, as you all know, there was a huge effect on our ability to go to sea. So the conclusions, comments I've received from the ship operators have generally been very positive. It helps them from having to keep additional techs on payroll in-house. It provides the operators with the ability to see techs in action before perhaps hiring them on a permanent basis. The techs are able to work when they want to, although, as I've said before, we don't guarantee that they're going to get pay or any particular level of pay during the year. And it provides them with opportunities to sail on multiple vessels, meet other techs, get training in new techniques and with new equipment while they're on these ships. So the final question, which, excuse me, can only really be answered by you all, is, has it been a success? And what could we do better? And one thing that I think we certainly could do better, which we dropped the ball on the last couple of years, was having 1 or 2 virtual meetings a year for all the pool members, so they actually get to see who's who in the pool, and they can then bring up topics that perhaps we can then take to UNOLS and NSF. But if there's anything else you think we could be doing better, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Andy.
Oh, yeah, so I have a question. So is there a listserv or anything for all the tech pool members? So for instance, for the tech training subcommittee, if there's a training opportunity that comes up, I know that a lot of the training goes to the tech managers, but
We don't run one, but Brandy keeps track on all that sort of
I'm
stuff.
sorry, what's the question?
Is there a listserv for the tech group, the tech pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just for, they're all on the RVTEC mailing list as well. If you join the pool, you're on the RVTEC mailing list.
In the interest of time.
Sorry, real quick, I just wanted to acknowledge that we have 3 technical technicians here today. Patrick Ahern, Gabe Mathias, who has been volunteering extensively for several of our committees, and Tyler, who I literally just found out has a job. Tyler.
That makes it 2 present in various tasks.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So me, we'll see how this goes. But I promise that I'm going to up my baud rate and slash the slides. But the question here is, okay, we have a breakout immediately after this, and I have been told multiple times, that's okay, you don't have to say it in the talk, say it in the breakout. Well, I don't know if anybody's going to be there. So this talk is actually an advertisement for the breakout. So if I don't show you something long enough for you to see it, you can come to the breakout and we can talk about it. This is the group. We are UHDAS. What do we do? I'm going to skip that one and go straight to this one. We work on, we developed, maintain, install, monitor software that collects ADCP data and time and position and attitude and turns it into ocean currents, which we hope are immediately useful for scientists at sea. Who here wants to know more and has not heard of or sailed with UHDAS? I can skip the next one. So there's an at-sea website, and all you need to see here is the 3 yellow boxes at the bottom. They're diagnostic plots, science plots, operations plots, and again, very happy to go through anything here at another time. Don't read the names on the left. But the boxes are the UNOLS ships, the academic research fleet on the top box, the NOAA ships in the second box, and the other ships in the third box. And that group is international research ships or philanthropic ships like Falcor, who have decided that they think our software is good enough to pay for, and they give us a subscription to monitor. We have UHDAS on 17. I should change that to academic research fleet. 3, and with Oceanus going away and Tani coming in soon. 3 polar ships, 11 NOAA ships, plus or minus, 6 international research vessels, and a contract with the Norwegian people to get the Norwegian IMR, International Marine Research Group. We're going to have it on 5 of their ships. What's that?
Institute of Marine Research.
Institute of Marine Research. So we've currently got it on 4 of their ships, and we're going to put it on 2 more, plus a ferry. Volunteer observing ships are a whole other category. 2022 recap. We worked very hard to upgrade ships, upgrade the computers, upgrade the operating systems on the computers, and that was done one of 3 ways. Ship us the computer, very effective. Find a good box, please. The picture of the Falcor computers when they got back, the edge of the whole computer was like this. Remote install using ship tech support. So that would be where somebody with Linux experience on your side reinstalls the operating system under our direction and then puts it online. And the third one is to use existing software to go from 2004 to 1804 to 2004, which is what we're doing right now, do release upgrade. And I've done a whole bunch of those. The last line there in the first section, the total, this is very crude, but the total number of remote login service calls, that's us going out to the ship, which actually justified writing down something to say what we did, was 165 over the course of the last year. We go out to them a lot more to do troubleshooting. So we bring back an email is sent to us every day, which whose payload is about 1 megabyte or 1.5 megabytes. 2 people read that every day, and that's what forms our responses, our monitoring. And so if we're just going to go out and grab a file and send it to RDI because your beam 3 is busted or whatever, that's not in this list. New in 2022, UHDAS best practices page. Thank you for precipitating that. There were people who wanted to get the data back to shore like daily. And so they would send back the netcdf file, which contained day 1 and 2, day 1 and 2 and 3, day 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And there are way better ways to do this, but I thought, well, it'd be awfully easy if I just wrote little netcdf files for each day. So that's a new thing. Because temperature seems to be an indicator of a problem, especially electrical noise, we have a temperature diagnostic plot that we're rolling out. And it turns out, yes, temperature is a diagnostic of electrical noise. It is a bellwether of failure, and it looks terrible in a lot of cases, and there doesn't seem to be any problem. So we're still trying to wrap our heads around that. The earlier plot we rolled out was a time diagnostic plot that compares the GGA timestamps with our acquisition timestamps, and that's proved to be a kettle of worms. Timing and network issues are the big discussion for the breakout. And then the POSNV thrashing, that was something where 2 years ago, we found a signature in the POSNV where every 12 and a half or 15 seconds, the heading would go kaflooey and the positions would go kaflooey. And then it would come back again, and it would do that for 1 to 30 times. And so this would take up to an hour or hour and a half of ruined POSNV data. And it seemed, Planix had no idea what was going on. So thank you, everybody who is recording POSPAC data and sending it to Darren. And he seems to be very receptive now because it's like, Darren, you have a problem. Darren, you have a problem. Darren, you have a problem. Darren, you have a, oh, hey, we have a problem. So they came up with a firmware fix that seemed to solve the problem, but now it's creeping back in again. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's precession of satellites. I don't know. So I have 2 flavors of slides here. One is instrument ADCP itself. So to get the ocean currents, you have the ADCP itself. If that doesn't work, you're screwed. You have a problem. If it does work, you still have to have good position, reliable heading, and accurate heading, and all of those, and accurate time, and all of those things can have problems. So the one thing I'll show you a picture of is electrical noise. So this is something that it's a problem on the Thompson, and they're going to move the deck unit down closer to the transducer so that that big fat antenna with analog signals doesn't get stuff multiplied and turn into ick. And that makes a big difference. And I think you guys did that on the Gould, right? Didn't you move the deck unit a little bit? Yeah, the problem is that instrument is failing, so that's a separate issue. But anyway, this is one of the signatures of electrical noise. In this case, on the left, they stopped on station, And so the green stuff that's circled down at the bottom, that is a bogus good percentage of values. And it's bogus because all 4 beams are stopped and they've all got the same wrong value. So this, one of the signatures is if the ship stops and you have an unusually good range with bad percent good, that's a signature. The other signature is if you see the green line up there, they're underway at full speed and there's no problem. They drop down a little bit and you start getting this red and blue tinge down at the bottom. That's a bias. There's a ghost of percent good down in the 4th column. And so that kind of a bias is another indicator of electrical noise. And it's impossible to get rid of it in processing. You can get close, but you can't fix it. She's going to kick me off in 2 minutes. Problems with the other instruments, the thrashing of the POS-NV, CPATH. CPATHs are not perfect, and there is one ship in particular where a particular kind of heading must have some kind of blockage of the CPATH because the positions keep coming with an indicator of 6, which is called free inertial, and that means dead reckoning. So it has an inertial component, but it says, I don't know where I am. I think I'm here. I think I'm here. I think I'm here. Oh, look. I'll show you a picture of what that looks like in the actual positions. So that's a problem. ABX2, I hate them. They are the devil's spawn, but they're the best thing for ADCPs at the price. They were $15,000 or something, 3 antennas, and they were good enough. And they have end of life at the end of this year, this calendar year. They have a few left. If you need a spare part, order it now. If you think you might want one, order it now. The replacement that they've told us about is a BX992, which I think has a little inertial component, but it's 2 antennas. And so it's not going to give us accurate heading. I think they're going to put one on the Sproul, but they're taking the ABX2 off, so that won't help. Kilomoana said they'd buy one. So we will get a comparison of a BX992 to a POS-NV. But basically what this is, what their statement is I'm afraid it probably means that the cost of having accurate ADCP data is going to go up by about $80,000 because you have to get a hydrants. That's my guess. I don't know. We are always on the lookout for that 15K sweet spot, but my phone can't do that yet. Time servers come to the breakout. Network issues. I'm going to show you a picture about UDP storms. So networks are not perfect, but here's the picture of, so on the left, it looks like a fishbone, looks like somebody filleted a fish. Each one of those things is when you have this dead reckoning. It's the difference between one of the GPSs and the CPATH. And it's going whoop, whoop, whoop. Those are 200 meter discrepancies. And then it comes back, it says, oh, okay, oh, no, 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 okay, no, no, no. So that's why we don't use it. This is okay, 2 pictures. This picture here is these 5 computers are using NTP. The 2 on the right, you can see there's a kind of a wide window that's pretty small though. It's 0.01, 0.02 seconds. It is what it is. It's kind of thick. The 2 blue ones that are number 2 and number 3, they clearly have a bit of a wobble. The 2 of them do. The second one's a little toothier, and number 3 is a little toothier, and number 2 is sort of got a window and wobble. Number 1 has an offset of 0.6 seconds, 0.5 seconds. It jumped away, no good reason, and then probably NTP put it back. We don't like that. We're trying to understand it. Come to the breakout and we can have a great big smackdown or civilized discussion. Okay, here is I'm almost done. I'm not good, but I'm almost done. Okay, on the bottom is actual clock seconds. I mean, heartbeat seconds. It's the real, it's time. So on the bottom is seconds. And if you don't even have to understand what this is, but each horizontal line is one of the GPS messages. And what you see as every single dot is one of those messages arriving. So there's this storm of messages that are coming in with mixed, all shuffled up because the network went around like this. And this has happened on at least 3 ships. These little pulses don't last very long, but they're devastating. So yeah, UDP is great when it works. And I mean, UDP itself may be fine, but the whole network infrastructure that we depend on is infused in what we have to do. So that's, anyway, that was another unfortunate discovery. Last slide. Coming up, again, we can talk about this in the breakout. And this this first one has taken a fair amount of energy. Kongsberg has a 4-beam Doppler sonar for measuring velocity. They would really, really like to eke in on the game here. And their interface is utterly different from RDI. It's a Swagger API query XML package thing. And so they've been working with us to make that function. So we can acquire EC150 data, a bundle that they have created. So it's not the terabytes, it's just gigabytes. So we can acquire the bundle that the DMQ message that they send to us. But there are still issues because their settings don't listen to what we say. And we have to hardwire in a lot of stuff to make it so that the matrix of data that we get stays the same size. So it's still pretty alpha. We had one successful cruise on the Sally ride because I sailed on it first and Max was out there and we nailed it all down, got everything dialed in. And I said to them, don't touch it. And the guy with the cruise after that was thrilled, except for the fact that he picked that bad heading. And so there were tons and tons of values where it's like, I don't have any NECP data. How come not? I said, it's okay. You have another instrument. So we'll reprocess it afterwards. So he's happy. But you can't just turn on EC150 acquisition. The data that you get in the UHDAS system is 10 times bigger than it is for RDI. And it requires us to be involved, and you have to reinstall the EK80 software to a beta version, and it's not there yet. I'm going to be sailing on or at least going to the Falcor 2 in December to try to make another iteration on this. The other one is the RDI Pinnacle 45. So that is another phased array. It's really actually a replacement for a mooring. So it's got a 1,000-meter pressure case, and the head on it is between the size of the OS 150 and the OS 75. But the frequency is between the 75 and the 38. So the range is more like the 38. The cost is more like the 75. It slices, it dices, it's cheaper. It's going to be great. But probably the beams are really fat and it's going to be full of artifacts. And so we really think it's probably not suitable for science on a research vessel, but we don't know. And so Hui has gotten a hold of it. The only reason Sally Ride doesn't have it is because RDI couldn't get it to them fast enough. They kept selling the demo version, the demo instrument. But Hui has one, and they're putting it in the Armstrong in December, and I'm sailing in January, and concurrently, anyway, so I'm going to be sailing in January on a transit and trying to make those comparisons. During the next year, eventually we will move from 2004 to 2204, start upgrading computers. We need more people. We do not have a job ad out. I will, of course, post it to RVTEC if we get one. If anybody has any interest in moving to Hawaii and helping us out, come talk to me and we'll see what happens. That's all I can say is we'll see what happens. There's no job out, but we have a lot of things that are our hats that we wear. Who knows, there might be a place. That's it. Any questions? And I've got the breakout. So I'm in 106. And Marine Meteorology, a really crash course, is in 107. Research SOC is in here. And Ryan, you want to come down and say what the 2 research SOC chunks are? Because they're different.
Sure. There's a question there.
Oh, one more second. Yeah, actually, there's a whole bunch of these breakouts. Yes, go ahead.
Not a question, just a comment. We have the EC 150 on the last group.
Yeah, and Dave Deemer is all over that, and I'm just not going to go there yet. He can have it. But that's good to know. That's a good thing to point out. And yeah, Toby, help me remember. Ethan.
Have you worked with a vessel yet that has one of these Kongsberg motion gyro compasses?
We can talk later, and no, tell me all about it later. Yeah, no, I have a clue. I don't think I have a clue. Yeah, Ryan, come tell us about your research SOC, the 2 sections, because they're different.
Yes, they are. So we have 2 sessions coming up this afternoon here. The first is going to be me. I'm just going to spend my time talking about what's actually happening, what attackers are doing out on the internet and in general to get into systems and organizations. And then after that, we're going to talk about what we can do to improve security in the fleet, given what we know about what attackers are actually doing in the real world. And then Will Drake, my colleague, who some of you may have met, he's out there at the table right now, I believe I don't see him in here. He's going to talk about the cyber risk management plan process that we've been working on. So that's what we have planned for this afternoon in this room.
Thank you, Ryan. So this meeting has been very rushed and you all have been huge sports about it. One of the things that might be contributing to this is the massive growth that we've seen. We have 150 participants, which is 113 in person and then 40 online. We also, from my first RVTEC, we have expanded cybersecurity and satellite comms from a 15-minute presentation to 5 hours of meeting. So it's quite possible that we need to perhaps start thinking about future meetings and potentially models.
We have 4 days.
One of the things that comes when it comes to putting the agenda together is I need to hear from presenters what they want to present and how much time they have. And hopefully from the community, what you want to hear and who might be able to present it. Otherwise, we just kind of stick you in a slot and hope that that covers enough time, and then everybody asks for a slot and all the time is gone. But our issues are not getting less complex. The stuff that we're learning from each other is not decreasing. And so it would be really beneficial on the agenda side to hear from you what you have to share at the meeting. Like I said earlier, this meeting is you guys and you folks and your content and your enthusiasm, which is what gets put on the agenda. I think we have one more task, which is this is the last time we're in the same room. So I think we need to do a motion to close, but I want to ask Alice first what I've forgotten. That's it? Okay, so we have, yeah, Toby. Okay, we have 3 hours of breakouts. This is the last time we're all in the same room. So we need a motion, a second, and some yays, which I got a motion. Second. How about a round of yays? Any nays? Great. Enjoy your, oh, now Jules has got more.
Yeah, we do not have.
What?
1 second.
Come over here while
Come
she's
over
talking.
here?
Yeah.
Come over here, stand on the top.
I was going to
Wait.
recommend that everybody hold their breath, pull their mask down, and let's take a picture. Because this is as close as we're gonna get to a
Okay.
group
Oh,
picture.
we didn't schedule a group photo.
No, we didn't. That's all right. Shoot, what was I gonna say? We don't yet know where RVTEC will be next time. We'll have to do that online.
Get out there.
But if you're interested, especially if you're somewhere warm, talk to us. Hang on.
Get in there. Ryan, get in there. You guys make sure you're all in the chair area. And if you took any pictures this week and you would like UNOLS to share them and credit you, Ted, what are you doing? Please email your pictures to media@unols.org with your name as you'd like it credited. There we go. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Is that it? You didn't have that? Oh, go into the MacGyver posters. Look at them. I will send a survey to take your votes tomorrow. Thank you.
Woohoo! See you in the breaks. Breakouts.